Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Friday, March 14th, 2014, and it is crazy week with free agency being out. It's exciting. Well, for some teams, some other teams, it's kind of disappointing, especially when you have the Broncos in your division. And not only were they pretty good last year, they might have just got just a tad bit better, maybe just a tad bit better. But also we have some baseball news, a little bit of college football news, not a whole lot, but this is all free agency again. And the thing is, it's only day 3, day 4 of free agency. Man, it is crazy. So we will get on with it. First, we'll talk about some college football news, and that is Florida Gators wide receiver and kick returner Andre DeBose granted his 6th year of eligibility. He had 29 receptions, 553 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And apparently, he owns a school record of 4 kickoff returns for touchdowns. So that's good news for Florida. Excuse me, I was going to say Florida State. For Florida Gators, because they're going to need a lot of help for next season. Also, Texas A&M and UCLA have agreed to a home-and-home series in 2016 and 2017. The Aggies will host the Bruins at Kyle Field on September 3rd of 2016, and then UCLA will host Texas A&M in the Rose Bowl September 2nd of 2017. So that'll be interesting games to watch. And some other news in college football was this, and I don't know how much it probably won't affect a whole lot of people, but for me as wanting to be a broadcaster and listening to games, this kind of just ruins Saturday Night Football for me for college football, and this is why. Brent Musburger is now going to be the lead college football game commentator on the SEC network along with Jesse Palmer, and that means Chris Fowler, who's the guy on College Game Day, who I like. College Game Day is awesome. I watch it all the time, and I'm glad that Chris Fowler is going to be doing it. That stays there with with ESPN. But now Chris Fowler will take the spot of Brent Musburger in calling the games with Kirk Herbstreit on Saturday Night Football games on ABC, which sucks. Now, Chris Fowler, I really haven't heard him call a game. I'm pretty sure I have, but it sucks that's he's taking Brent Musburger. Brent Musburger was the guy. I loved hearing him call games, and now he's not going to be able to call any of the Texas-Oklahoma games, which I don't even think he did last season anyways. But the main Saturday Night Football games that we always watch, the opening games and all the way through, he will no longer call those. He will only call SEC games, and that means Chris Fowler will be with Herbstreit, and that can be an okay tandem right there. But Brent Musburger is the Madden of college football. And now he's going to be moving on, so that sucks. And I don't really watch SEC too much because we hear about it every single day when college football starts. That's all we hear, SEC this, SEC that. Doesn't matter. So, that kind of sucks. But anyways, main thing we were going to talk about is the NFL, and the biggest news in the NFL was day 1 and day 2 of free agency. And that was when the Broncos decided to spend every single penny they had in getting major players, and they made really smart moves with it. And I'm jealous. Yes, I'm jealous as a San Diego Charger fan, but I'm also very, kind of worried. Okay, no, I am worried about what's going to happen next season. The Broncos, as we all have heard now, Broncos have signed defensive end / linebacker DeMarcus Ware, cornerback Aqib Talib, and safety TJ Ward. It's a multi-year deals, and that sucks because the Broncos, they were pretty solid last year. And for me, Chargers have to play the Broncos twice a year. And, we struggled against them. We beat them once. They beat us twice, because, in the playoffs. But this, obviously I knew the Chargers, we don't have any money. We're broke. I think we had, after a few restructuring the contracts, I think we only had maybe a little over $4 million in cap space to go out and spend. And, that's nothing. The Broncos had $35 million to spend, and they did. They did all of it. So that sucks, when you're just broke. But that was because of bad management in the past, and A.J. Smith, he was terrible, and all the other crap. But anyways, Broncos, DeMarcus Ware, Aqib Talib, T.J. Ward have really just set their defense amazing. I mean, you're going to have Von Miller on one side, DeMarcus Ware on the other. That is trouble right there. Now, DeMarcus Ware, yeah, you can say he's older now. He still produces. He can still get it done. And that's the scary part. Because for offensive lines, when they were going against the Broncos in the past seasons, all you had to do was worry about, Von Miller, basically. And maybe Elvis Dumervil when he was there. There's no one a big pass rusher on their team that consistently got to the quarterback. So that was easier for offensive linemen to, help out. But now you're going to have, DeMarcus Ware you're going to have to worry about, Von Miller. Those are obviously the mains. There's probably more. I don't pay attention to the Broncos. But the thing is, this worries me. And San Diego doesn't have the best offensive line, and the Broncos just got a whole lot better. Now, I did see a tweet that they narrowed the margin of defeat against the Seahawks from a 30-point loss that they had, and now they made it to like a 25-point loss. I don't know what the whole point with it, but it seemed pretty funny. But anyways, they got a lot better, and Aqib Talib is going to be, he's somehow, after being cut by Tampa Bay last season, or was it last season? Maybe the year before. Anyways, cut by Tampa Bay. No one really cared for him. Patriots picked him up, and somehow he fit right into that system and became one of the top cornerbacks. Now underline of, because I don't want to get any criticism there. One of the top cornerbacks in the NFL, and really fit in that system and made it work. It was lockdown cornerback. And so he's going to be taking the spot of Rogers Cromartie, who was really solid for the Broncos, and obviously Champ Bailey being gone. Not really being the starter anymore, but, main face of the defense. And then signing T.J. Ward from the Cleveland Browns, who's been a hard-hitting safety, turnover machine. He's got a few interceptions the past few years, and I really like that signing. But also they were saying that the Broncos made a real push in trying to get Darrelle Revis, but that fell through. Kind of glad they didn't get him. But I mean, Darrelle Revis to me is so... I really don't know. And even if he didn't have the injury that he had last year, I feel like he's just... I don't think he's the same Darrelle Revis that we all remember. The lockdown guy from New York and the interceptions. I feel like he's lost a step. And I'm not even saying because of the injury. I just think his playing has just... I don't know. He doesn't have that... What's the word I'm looking for here? What's the word? He just doesn't have that factor, or the X factor. I don't really know. I'm trying to think of the word right now, but he just doesn't have what I think is a top cornerback. What has to be a top cornerback? Right now I think Richard Sherman is, and if you guys haven't seen it on Twitter, Richard Sherman's is going after. First D'Angelo Hall went after. No. It was LeGarrette Blount, running back, went after. Richard Sherman, or said something, and then Richard Sherman jumped in, and then they went at it. And now recently, D'Angelo Hall, the Redskins, got into it with him, and it's been crazy. But I think Richard Sherman's the best cornerback in the league. Even if he didn't win a Super Bowl, still was one of the top cornerback. The top cornerback. But moving on with that, I just don't think Darrelle Revis still has it anymore. I think what the Patriots did, spending that money and then adding another year for $20 million is ridiculous. I don't know if there's been any changes with the Patriots front office, but whatever it is, they're making some really bad decisions. I think it started from when they released Wes Welker, let him go. Ever since then, I don't agree with any of the calls that they're making upstairs. It's just not making any sense. And Tom Brady, your window is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, especially with the Broncos getting better. And some other AFC teams are starting to develop more depth at positions and are getting better as well. But again, Broncos, I think right now are the biggest winners in free agency right now, just overall. biggest winners. And really, it shouldn't be. The Bengals should be the biggest winners. Who else? I think the Raiders have a pretty good salary cap now. I think they got it situated, but maybe not. I know the Browns, but Browns have been doing some real good stuff, which we'll talk about them in just a minute. But the Bengals, what, $40 million in cap space that they have, and they haven't done anything other than releasing guys. Have done nothing. And the Bengals, other than they just signed an extension with the head coach, Marvin Lewis, to an extra year, and he hasn't even won a playoff game in the entire time he's been there. The Bengals, your front office has to go. I don't know. What's the point? You're saving money for what? What are you doing? Anyways, moving on, guys. We stuck too long on that. Running back Chris Johnson is willing to take a pay cut to be traded from Tennessee, which is kind of shocking. I knew there was talks about him being released or trying to get traded, get out of Tennessee, but I didn't really think, they would. I mean, he's their star on offense, the face of the offense, and maybe even the face of the franchise still, because it sure isn't Jake Locker, and I don't know anybody else on there. So Chris Johnson to be traded, and if that happens, Tennessee, they made some smart things. I'm going to go through a few free agent pickups that have happened recently. And I know Tennessee has signed a few linebackers, and defensively they're getting better. Offensively, I think they're going for the draft, and I think that's what they're going to do. But if I'm Tennessee and you're going to trade Chris Johnson, got to get at least a second rounder, maybe a late first rounder, depending on who you trade with. But at least a second round, and you got to get multiple picks, because I think Chris Johnson still has it in him to get at least over 1,300 yards rushing. I think he still has it in him. But I think his time in Tennessee is all about gone. And the Browns, Cleveland Browns, are going all in for their defense. They signed linebacker Carlos Dansby, safety Dante Whitner, and cornerback Isaiah Trufant. And apparently reports are coming out that they are also favorites to sign running back Ben Tate, which would really help their offense. Really not having a number one running back, Ben Tate would be that guy, and I see him fitting in there. But the Browns, man, whoo! I like their pickup so far. I think their defense is going to be, pretty solid up there. They helped them stay close in a lot of games, and it's really just up to that offense. I mean, you have your top wide receiver led the league in yards and receptions, and yards after catch. So that's a positive note, knowing that you have no quarterback whatsoever on your team. So, obviously I think the Browns go after quarterback first pick, possibly a Manziel if he's there. Maybe. That would be interesting to see. But getting a quarterback, and then, draft. I think draft, they're all going to go offense all over the place for the Browns for the draft, and free agency is defense. Smart move by the Browns so far, after their front office was being questioned. And then other news, Redskins have signed former Dallas defensive lineman Jason Hatcher to a 4-year contract worth $27.5 million. They also signed cornerback Tracy Porter, linebacker Darryl Sharpton, and defensive lineman Clifton Geathers. I can't speak. But Jason Hatcher. Now let me just talk to you for just one moment. Out of all teams. Now I'm not a Cowboy fan, but my family is, and they are hurt by this. Not only they're hurt by DeMarcus Ware leaving, now Jason Hatcher leaving, and Cowboys really haven't done squat other than signing some special teams linebackers and stuff. Out of all teams, Jason Hatcher, why did you pick the Redskins? What sold you to go to the Redskins and play for the arch rival Redskins? Out of all teams. Now money, $27.5 million, 4 years. That's awesome. You got paid. Good job. I'm guessing that was the most money you were going to make anywhere else, because really I don't see what the Redskins bring to the table, especially being a rival, seeing what they've had for the past several years. I think this is, basically just because of money, which most likely that's what it always comes down to. But Jason Hatcher, as as a person that has that their family is all Cowboys fans and having to hear them, and you just left them to the Redskins, it's just wow. But I like the Redskins, what they picked up, though. On their side, it looks good. Jason Hatcher, Tracy Porter, Daryl Sharpton could be pretty solid. So is Clifton Gether. So really, I think those are all pretty good signings right there for the Redskins, which had a really bad defense last year. So really, anything right now is a huge step up for them. And Oakland Raiders, now signing some old veterans, but I think this could be a pretty good deal for the Raiders. They signed linebacker Lamar Woodley and defensive end Justin Tuck. Woodley got a 2-year contract worth a maximum value of $12 million, so I'm guessing there's incentives. But I like those signings right there. Justin Tuck. Well, I don't like him as a Charger fan. That's gonna suck against for us. But for the Raiders, I think those are really smart picks. I think Woodley is gonna be able to be obviously bringing in the veteran leadership is what's gonna help. And then Justin Tuck, I think he's gonna get a solid amount of playing time. Where he might even get 8 sacks this year. I think Justin Tuck could surprise a lot of people. Woodley, I mean, he's really old. But it's a good pickup for the Raiders. Bengals released outside linebacker James Harrison yesterday. He does intend to play for this upcoming season. Bengals, what are you doing? I think I would have kept James Harrison. I know this would be his 12th year in the NFL this upcoming season, but I would have kept him. He just brings that intimidation factor, another veteran leadership that the Bengals are going to need because they're a pretty young team as well. And Bengals, you have money, so I don't know really what they're doing. Other news, the Saints running back Darren Sproles, well, not anymore, was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday for a 5th-round draft pick. I think that's pretty low for him. I think Darren Sproles maybe could have been a 3rd or 4th. I know he's 30 years old, but he could still produce some good amount of yards and some W's. But anyways, he later signed again with the Eagles to a 2-year extension. So now he's going to be there for 3 seasons because he was in his final year of the contract. And this is what Chip Kelly had to say on Darren Sproles. He said, quote, Darren Sproles is an unbelievable offensive weapon. He can do it all, run, catch, plus he's a proven winner. And on top of that, he can bring all of those dynamic skills to the return game as well. There's no question we were all excited once we found out that we were going to be able to trade for him, unquote. Chip Kelly knows something about speed. He knows something about winning. And when he sees that in a player, and we all see it in Darren Sproles, but if he feels that excited about Darren Sproles, especially for what they got for him, or what they had to give away, that's really good. That's really good, and I think Darren Sproles is going to give LaShawn McCoy a little bit of rest, and also helping him out. And it's going to be exciting to see what Darren Sproles can do. And right now, it seems like everybody's getting, well, not really. Giants really haven't done anything in free agency. Actually, really nothing. I haven't heard a thing about the Giants so far. Wow, Giants, nope, doing nothing. They're taking steps down. Cowboys, I know they don't have that much money, but still nothing. And now your Redskins and the Eagles are just getting better. And Eagles won the division last season, so it's getting pretty crazy now. Moving on to New England Patriots defensive tackle Vince Wilfork has asked the team to release him after 10 seasons with the Patriots. He's in his final year of his contract and was scheduled to earn $7.5 million this year, and that would count $11.6 million against the salary cap. Why am I saying camp? Salary cap against the Patriots. Was injured last year, which it hurt the Patriots so much, and it shows why or how much they could have used them against the Broncos in the AFC Championship game, where they couldn't do anything against the Broncos offense. But to me, it's a little shocking. I mean, one, you're going to make $7.5 million. It's pretty good. And you're going to win some games, and you're going to be in the playoffs. So why leave? Why are you asking for a release? I really don't see him making any more money in 1 year anywhere else. So to me, this comes as a surprise. I know the Patriots, they did say that they talked to him about restructuring his contract so that it wouldn't be 11.6 against the cap, which is a huge amount of money for the Patriots. I mean, if they do end up releasing him and not having to pay him anything, I mean, that's going to save up a whole lot of money, and this brings the Patriots into a little bit better position for getting other free agents. But I don't know why Vince would want to leave. I really don't. It's come shocking to me. And another shocking thing, it was when we first heard it, but now that there was, and then when we waited it out and talked about it for, a few days, it wasn't that much more shocking. But yesterday, the Carolina Panthers released wide receiver Steve Smith. This is what the general manager, Dave Gettleman, had to say. Said, quote, "When I took this position, I knew it was going to be difficult decisions would have to be made along the way. To move on from a storied veteran player is probably the most difficult of all. A decision that is not to be taken lightly. However, after much thought, I feel very strongly it's the right one," unquote. Today or last night, Steve Smith flew to Baltimore and today met with the Ravens, and we'll really haven't heard too much on that, how it's going so far. But the Ravens, Giants, Patriots, and my San Diego Chargers are the favorites to sign Steve Smith, and I really hope the Chargers could get him. And I was reading an article, I even tweeted it out. Follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7, self-plug. The attitude, and this is a good thing. They're talking about good attitude. Sorry about that. Good attitude of what he brings, the emotion he brings of Steve Smith, what he brings to every game, matched up with Phillip Rivers. That would be something. And I think he would fit in really good with our offense. Mike McCoy, what they could do with him. Oh man, our passing game. Woo! We had Steve Smith. I hope we can get Steve Smith. I really do. But Ravens get him. That'll be a huge step up for them. Giants, I don't think they'll do it. Patriots, that's a team to look out for, and I could see him going there. But Chargers, let's do something because we're not really stepping up a little bit. I mean, Donald Brown. Oh my God! All right, guys. As a San Diego Chargers fan, I know I've said that multiple times now. It was so disappointing to see, and it is disappointing to see who we've signed. Now, I know we don't have any money, but come on, man. I mean, can we get out? Can we just get somebody? I'd rather get none of the guys that we've had so far that we've signed that weren't on our team. Save that money and hope that we could get at least one big player. Like a Steve Smith. That's what I'm talking about, big player. Or Hakeem Nicks. That's a big player in my mind. I'd rather do that, but oh well. Moving on, New England Patriots are negotiating with suspended free agent cornerback Brandon Browner. Quote, "Browner wants to be in New England. I think we're close, but it's a tough deal to do because of the suspension," his agent said. Browner will visit with the Redskins today and then will visit New Orleans. And while his agent will talk with New England and the Oakland Raiders. I really hope Patriots get Browner. That would be awesome. Darrelle Revis on one side, Browner on the other. Hard-hitting. Oof. I'm still a huge fan of Browner, even though he made a really stupid decision. And so I think he still gets a Super Bowl ring, actually. I think I read somewhere he still gets a Super Bowl ring. That's so... Even though he was suspended for the end of the season, I can't really remember how many games, and missed the entire playoffs, still gets a paycheck for the playoff thing and gets a ring. I don't think that's right, even though I know he was part of the team previously, but... You weren't there for the playoffs to contribute. You obviously weren't there for the Super Bowl because of your decisions. So, but anyways, moving on. I hope he goes to the Patriots. Out of all those teams, I don't want him going to the Redskins. I don't want him going to Oakland. Saints would be something. That would be nice. But Patriots would be the best in my mind. Tennessee Titans have agreed to with former Denver Broncos linebacker Wesley Woodyard on his 4-year, $16 million deal. Tennessee, I like what they're doing. I like that pickup right there, and a solid amount of money. Good pickup for the Tennessee Titans. Ravens signed a 4-year, $16.1 million deal with linebacker Darrell Smith, and Darrell Smith replaced Ray Lewis, or at least is trying to, and he did a pretty good job last year with 123 tackles, 5 sacks, and 3 interceptions. good deal, and they got him for pretty cheap. I would have thought he would ask for more money. I mean, I think this is going to be his 8th or 9th year in the NFL, and I would have asked for more money. But if he really wanted to stay with the Ravens, and more power to him. He's one heck of a player. I can't speak today. The Detroit Lions signed starting tight end Brandon Pettigrew to a 4-year deal worth $16 million, $8 million guaranteed. Had 416 yards and 2 touchdowns. And some other quick news: no signings, but possible signings. Defensive tackle Henry Milton will go see the Cowboys after visiting the Seahawks and the Vikings recently. Linebacker Brandon Spikes and running back Anthony Dixon are visiting the Bills today, which if the Bills could sign both of them, that's huge improvement right there. I would like to see Anthony Dixon, a big power back, helping out C.J. Spiller. And Brandon Spikes always gets 100-plus tackles every season. Would really help the Bills' defense, along with that. I think he's number 50 for the Bills. I can't think of his name. He's pretty solid too. So them side to side would help their defense, especially going against Patriots. And Brandon Spikes knows the Patriots, so that could really help the Bills. Mind games right there. And shocking news to me: Michael Orr. Did not know he was a free agent, and becoming a free agent, I didn't think Ravens would let him go. But the Ravens right now are letting him visit teams, and he's a free agent. I guess what you could say. He's visiting the Titans today, and then he'll go visit the Oakland Raiders later on. Again, hope he doesn't go to the Raiders. If he goes anywhere other than Ravens, hope he goes to the Titans or maybe San Diego. But he's probably too much. But that's the end of college football, of the NFL news. I didn't go through every NFL signing because there's way too many. But got the major ones so far, and there are a lot of good free agents out there right now that I'm sure we'll get later today, tonight, and then going into the weekend. There's going to be more signings, and it's exciting because 55 more days till the NFL draft. So, and the reason I know this, I don't want people to think I'm just weird or something. NFL.com and other websites, they have that countdown meter, and it says it. So I don't actually just count down the days. I see it every time on my show, so I let people know. Let people, give a reminder out there. But have a few baseball news. I don't feel like I've said that weird. Cleveland Indians' Jason Giambi will be sidelined for about 3 to 4 weeks with a broken rib in his right side. Giambi was hit by a pitch against the Chicago Cubs on March 7th. He had x-rays, came out negative, but he said that he was still feeling pain. So he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. But, man, he is still playing. 40-something years old, still playing. Didn't he bat, low 200s last season? I don't know how he's still out there, but he's getting it done. Twins' top prospect, third baseman Miguel Sano, is optimistic about returning to play after undergoing surgery on his right elbow. It says the surgery went well. He's feeling better. Hoping things can progress a little bit faster, but it's still, timetable right now is 6 months. So season's in jeopardy for him, but I hope he can make it back, at some point for him. David Price will be the opening day starter for the Tampa Bay Rays. They host the Toronto Blue Jays starting March 31st. Obviously, that's opening day. David Price is the guy. And Chicago Cubs shortstop Starlin Castro, his return is uncertain. That's what the Chicago Cubs had to say. Said he's dealing with fluid in his leg from a hamstring injury suffered March 2nd. And is, questionable when he could return. There's 16 games left for the Cubs. Says he wants to play at least 10 or 12. But right now, Cubs are just saying, no. We're going to hold you out as long as we can until you get complete healthy because come April, they want you all the way good. And that's it for today's show, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. We will be back Monday morning, another morning episode. And we'll talk about, obviously, free agents. There's going to be more signings, maybe even some trades here and there. So we'll check that out. Monday morning again on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio. We are almost at 100 likes on Facebook page. So go out. If you already liked it, share it. Tell people about it. Get them to like it. Link is in the description down below. Also, guys, thank you for listening on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Leave a like, subscribe, favorite, comment, all while you were there. And follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. I will see you guys Monday morning. God first, God bless. I'm out.